What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Aloha.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening.
Vietnam. No. Good morning, Vietnam. Robin Williams, so. He's radio announcer.
I got you. Yeah, you got to really like put the effort into it.
Yeah, I know.
I thought you said another language. Like,
No.
Vietnam. Flashbacks.
When I was in the war. Anyway, in case you did not know, Team Chat Podcast is a video game podcast where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do that by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube and iTunes channels. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that as well by going to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show, and in return, we'll give you a cool perk, a really cool perk, like getting the episode early before its
Really
general
cool perk.
Tuesday release. If you don't want to do that, that's no big deal. We'll still keep making the show week after week, giving you great video gaming content. Again, that is patreon.com/teamchatpodcast. Now, before we get into it, we do have to do our song contest because we have a winner this week. I like that.
We need
should do it every time.
we need we need more sound effects.
We need like sound
in general. Boo, 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 boo. Like be really annoying.
Oh man, that would
We've
suck.
talked about that before. Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm gonna turn all this off.
Team Chat podcast.
She'd just be pulling the power cord.
I'd just be like pulling
no,
out
we're
the
done.
power
We're
cord.
done.
This is what we need to be next level podcasting, obviously.
But we do have a winner because Bro Mogan sent us the hint last week of if you get his name, you will get your identity back. If you guess his name, you'll get your identity back.
That's right.
And Brandon Weaver correctly guessed the song as
Can't believe you got this.
Paper Mario and the 1,000 Doors.
Wow.
I'm actually really ashamed that I didn't get it.
Were you a Paper Mario player?
Well, because you and
no.
Glinda both last episode were like, wait, I think I might know what that is.
Yeah, so that's why, because that's a GameCube game. Like, that's an old GameCube game.
yeah.
And I just recently, I think Bro Mogan was actually, like, trying to give it to me, because he was playing Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door.
Yep.
And, like, I just watched him play it the whole way through, and I was like, this game is confusing.
It's an odd
this.
game.
It is an odd game.
It is.
And actually, I was really, like, having, like, weird combination, not really flashbacks, because I was like, have I played this?
Well, actually,
Because what I really figured out is I haven't actually played 1,000-Year Door. I played the one after that.
Which one is that?
The Paper Mario for the Wii that came out that was like Crystal something.
What's the one that came out for the GameCube?
The Crystal Skull? Indiana Jones? The Crystal Skull?
Yeah, that's the one I played.
That's a great
What's the one that came out for the GameCube?
The GameCube was 1,000-Year Door.
Okay.
I played the next step up.
Okay. My friend got Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door without doing any research. And we were young, and we were like, a new Mario game. And we, like, hated it. We were like, this isn't Mario.
Like an RPG.
It's an RPG.
Yeah, so
you walk around and talk to people.
The reason that I had such confusion when I was watching Bro Mogan play it was, I was like, I'm sure I've played Paper Mario.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
I have.
But
But
it
then he
wasn't
would
that
get to,
one.
like, the fighting, and I'd be like, this doesn't look familiar at all.
Yeah.
And I finally figured it out when I looked back up Paper Mario for the Wii. They changed a crap ton of stuff.
Really?
Like they kept the core of the game together, but they pretty much changed the entire mechanical format. So I was like, oh, I haven't played 1,000-Year Door. I've played the other one.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, mystery solved.
Cool.
Brandon, send us your hint, and we'll use it as a song for the song and hint in a future episode. Stick around for this episode. One of us will be giving a hint. We're not quite sure which one of us yet. We're all thinking, scrounging our brains.
Is that what we decided to do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Batter up,
I wasn't
Zach.
listening.
And we'll add that in at the end of this episode. All right.
You got your Starbucks.
Yep.
You got your homemade coffee.
It's not homemade.
She got it from
It's
just a
from
little
the
donut
the
shop.
donut place.
Donut
We
shop up the
we
street.
talked about this.
We're recording it to you on a bright and early Saturday morning.
I will say the coffee is better than Starbucks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They have good donuts there.
I like Starbucks
They do.
coffee.
I got
And
cinnamon
good breakfast
twist.
tacos.
Yum.
You should get the breakfast tacos sometime. It's pretty,
All right,
pretty good.
what are
Shout
we
out to
talking
River
about?
City Donuts. Sponsor us, please. We just give you a free
Yeah,
shout out.
seriously.
Free advertising. If you're ever in Austin, William Cannon and Manchac, it's right there.
We'll eat their donuts on the show every day. That would be great.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
It's like we can just go there, get their leftovers that they don't want.
Oh, that'd be awesome. All right, anyways, video
Anyway,
games.
so our topic of today, we're going back to a good old-fashioned semi-list.
Thanks for saying
episode.
semi, because mine's certainly semi-complete. No!
I mean, I have a couple, and I have a couple optionals. We'll see which ones I get to as time allows. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about. We're going on another angle with characters and things. We're going to be talking about our well, maybe not favorite is
Yeah,
the
how do
right
we
word.
say this?
But
Memorable?
basically, memorable is probably the best way to go about it. Memorable character deaths.
If Uncharted 1 had ended with everyone dying, including
that would have
Nathan
been your
Drake,
favorite.
It would have been my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
I would have been like, hey, A+.
You're like, we know this game sucks.
Sucks.
You're like, oh, I like this game now.
So
Good for them.
since Mogan brought up Uncharted,
Have you
we've mentioned it a lot before already that I was going to start playing Uncharted, and we would have another debate episode about Uncharted. But also, it was kind of understood, like, I might hate it too. I might like it. You don't know. But anyway, I was going to play it, and we were going to talk about it. I finished Uncharted Drake's Fortune. So
Just the first one.
just the first one.
Oh, you finished it.
Yeah, it's all done. I've knocked that baby out real quick.
Yeah,
It didn't
no
take long
kidding.
at all.
Yeah,
kidding.
because it's a shit game.
So,
Anyways.
just a little bit of I know we don't normally do this, but a little bit of a sneak peek to 2 weeks from now, the episode that we'll be doing, because next week is all going to be about E3 coverage, and the next episode is going to be the great Uncharted debate. So put it on your calendars.
Well, you know my side already. It
That is going to be the next
blows.
episode? The great Uncharted
After
debate?
the E3 stuff,
Okay,
After
okay.
next week.
E3
So 2 weeks,
episode.
2 episodes from now is Uncharted. So everyone,
I am also not
put it on
going
your
to
calendars. Buy that pay-per-view.
buy that
It's going to be
pay-per-view.
the Rumble, Uncharted Rumble.
Ooh, the
Uncharted.
Smackdown.
Gross.
That's right.
Gross.
Sick.
But anyway, off topic. So we're going to talk about gaming character deaths today. And so this is a really interesting topic, I think, because obviously, like, a lot of characters die in video games. Like, that happens. It happens a lot. But I was trying to think of, as similar with movies and other forms of storytelling, deaths can often be a great catalyst to getting a story kicked off, either for, like, purposes of revenge or what have you.
That's an interesting way to think about it.
And so it's an interesting way of, like, so I'm interested to see if the deaths that we talk about today will follow somewhat in that vein, or if there will be ones that just, kind of impacted us for a different reason other than being the catalyst to starting our adventure.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Well, I'm curious to see, what do you have in mind for a death that started an adventure?
The one that I can think of off the top of my head, I mean, there's quite a few, honestly. So Assassin's Creed 2, Ezio Auditore, his family is executed in the very beginning of it, and that's what drives him to become the assassins, because he finds his father's gear, who was an assassin.
I see.
And discovers this new life for himself, and that sets up that trilogy of games. The next 3 Assassin's Creed games. So that's like what I mean by, like, a catalyst. That death kicked off that big storyline.
Yeah. That's funny. All of mine are, like, characters you know for a while, and then they die.
And then
Mine
they
are
die.
too.
So it's more like a surprise.
I was more
moment.
thinking of, like, of these, like, catalyst deaths, like
Yeah.
starting point deaths kind of
Okay.
things.
Interesting.
So this is good. So we'll get a nice rounded bit then.
Yeah.
So who wants to kick it off?
Mine's a little
Go ahead.
long because it's kind of a 2-for-1.
Okay.
Okay.
I have bookend deaths.
Bookend deaths?
Bookend deaths.
Yeah.
So one at the beginning and one at the end.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I want you to guess.
Final Fantasy.
Oh, no.
Okay.
So you're
Shush,
close.
child.
It's a game you're probably sick of hearing about.
Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah,
I was thinking you were going to bring this up.
that one.
I was thinking you were going to bring this up.
I mean, the minute that we were like, oh, character deaths, I was like, oh my God, my time has come.
Yes,
Yes.
again, I've been called again
been
to talk
called.
about the Legend of
So then we'll do
Dragoon.
this. We'll begin.
We'll skip yours.
with your first one, and then we'll bookend it
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
with your
Okay. Nice.
with your second one
All
for
right.
this game.
Well, in that case, yeah, we'll just start there because I'm sure I can talk for ages about it. Okay, so as you know, The Legend of Dragoon is the greatest JRPG ever, and Final Fantasy is just a ripoff.
so says
it's just a ripoff. I'm just kidding. It's not. Final Fantasy is great, but so essentially, the game starts with you. You're some loser, Dart. He's got, like, typical Final Fantasy-esque hair. He
Right.
has a sword, and you're like, I think my guy might kind of suck. But your
His name is
entire...
Dart?
Yeah, his name is Dart.
Worst
like,
name.
Throwing darts
Yeah.
at a board. Yeah,
Maybe he's
not...
fast.
Dart's not... He's like the fire guy, too, so it's like, oh, the most basic element. Not cool. So anyways, you're Dart, and you have just returned to your home village, which has been totally decimated, and your childhood friend Shauna, and your love interest in the game, has been kidnapped. And she's been taken to a place called Helena Prison. And it literally looks like hell when you get there, and you're like, oh, I get the name. That makes sense. But the entire trip to Helena, you're all alone. So it's just you, and you're traversing through all of these places, really kind of learning the mechanics of the game and how to fight. And then you get to the prison. And you're like level 1. You have no skills. You're a loser. You have a sword. You don't even have any armor. And so you're trying to fight your way through this prison, but it's not going super well. And then you finally get to the prison cell where you think your girlfriend is being kept, but you don't have the key. And then from all sides in the prison, these minions, these peons come out of nowhere, and they're like, "You bastard, we're going to get you." And they call you a bastard. And that was one of the first.
Wow.
That was
time you
one
heard
of the,
that word.
Yeah, that was
what?
one of the first bad words my brother and I ever learned.
You called
Thanks, video games.
And you called yourselves that secretly under each other's breaths. Bastard.
No, I mean, we would shout it at each other because we didn't know it was a bad word. We were like, "You bastard."
And your mom's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "Video games, Mom. It's nothing. It's nothing." So you're. So you think you're about to die because there's no way you can take on all of these prison guards at the same time.
Right.
And then from off screen, it's the early 2000s / late 90s. So like there's no dialogue, but you see these little dialogue boxes coming up, and it's like, like guys clearly dying, and some other guy like, "Have at ye, you fiends!" And then like out of nowhere comes blazing this guy in like green armor with cool short blonde hair and a spear, and he's just like, "Yo, buddy, what are you doing in this prison?" And you're like, "I'm busting my girlfriend out." And he's like, "Great, I'm getting out of here too. Let's hit the road." And that's
Badass.
your guy, Levitz. And
that's how you beat
Levitz
Levitz.
lives.
Levitz
the
lives.
source.
If I've said it once,
Source.
I've said it
I've
1,000
said it 1,000
times.
times. So that's your guy, and he's the first guy that joins your party. So he's the first new character you ever get.
Okay.
So Dart is always the default. You actually can't remove him from your party, which
Bummer.
blows. Yeah, it's a real bummer. So you can never get rid of Dart, but you can add in your other 3 people for combat. I would have used Levitz the entire freaking game if I had had the chance. So you get your girlfriend from Helena prison, and all 3 of you leave. And throughout the entire rest of Disc 1, you really do, like, it's a short, like, if you actually timed it out, it would be a pretty short adventure. But you basically go with Levitz back to his hometown. You meet his mom, okay? Yeah, you go to his house.
You guys are getting close.
And he lives in, like, a mansion. And his mom is like, "I just love the young people." And you're like, "Thanks, Grandma." And she has like paintings of her son everywhere because it's, fantasy medieval times. They don't have pictures. She clearly adores Levitz, and he is her only child. She has no husband. He died. So it's just her and Levitz pretty much. And Levitz is like a captain in the army. So he's doing really well for him and his mom. He takes care of her, blah, blah, blah. She makes you and your whole team like a home-cooked meal. It's
Hell
the bomb. Yeah, you get to stay at her place. It's like a slumber party. It's awesome. And then you and your crew go back to basically the king of their land. And you're like, "Hey, some shit's going down over at that Helena prison. We don't really know what's up, but like stuff's going bad." And like the super shadowy, suspicious Grand Vizier for the king is like, no. Nothing's happening at the prison. You don't need to worry about that. And everyone else is like, "Yo, king, can't you see that your Grand Vizier is a super creep?" And he's like, "No, he's fine. It's fine." And then, of course, he backstabs you, kidnaps the king, which is
What?
like Levitz's charge. Like, he can't have that. So he kidnaps the king, takes him back to Helena prison, and you all have to basically go get him now. So this is kind of rounding out Disc 1. You get back to Helena prison. Now you have your whole crew. You've got your girlfriend fighting with you. You've got your best bro here on the other side, that's Levitz. You fight your way through the prison. It's like very grandiose. And when you get to the top, like the very top of Helena prison, because it's like this big tower, you find the advisor guy who has taken off his mysterious black cloak, doing some sort of ritual where like he's extracting some sort of item from the king, but like in a magical way. Like he's not like chopping him open. He's like basically sticks his hand into his back and like rips something out, and it's just like, oh my god, what is happening? And so as he does this, Levitz, he's responsible for the king. He can't have this. So
defend
Levitz,
him.
in like a very dramatic cutscene, you guys, you don't even know, it's very dramatic.
I think you showed it to us before.
I think you
very
did.
dramatic.
I think you did. I remember
he
this.
rushes forward, and the bad guy, Lloyd, what a dumb name.
Lloyd.
Lloyd.
I am Lloyd, fear me.
Oh,
I'm from
your old
other realms.
best villain Lloyd. He stabs Levitz right through the middle
Bummer.
with this mega sword called the Dragon Buster, and there's no coming back from that.
Nice.
So he like yanks the sword out. Levitz is super dead, like almost
Super,
immediately.
super dead.
And you as Dart, you're like, no. and there's like a bunch of O's on the screen. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
So like you run forward and you're like, Muppets, bro, and of course Lloyd absconds into the night. He's gone. And you're just like, well,
The
this
deed is
fucking
done.
blows. The deed is done.
Yes.
So like you have Levitz dying in your arms. And you're like, my best bro.
Does he have any
man."
last words?
He has some last words. He's like, I think he says something about his mom, maybe.
Oh.
I don't quite remember.
Tell my mom
But-
I won't be home for dinner.
Yeah, pretty much something kind of like that. And you're like,
Something
oh my god, this is
Survive.
horrible. So he dies, and that like really kicks off the whole rest of the adventure, kind of like what we were talking about, because with his death, it kind of sinks into the whole crew that like more is happening than they realize.
Right.
What's this guy Lloyd doing? What did he rip out of our king? Why did he kidnap your girlfriend? Why did he kill our best bro? And what the hell was that crazy sword? So you go back to the homeland, the kingdom or whatever. Basil? Is that what it's called? I forget. Anyways, you go back to the main city where the king lives. You drop him back off, and he's like, sorry, guys. And you're like, you fucking scumbag. He actually joins your team in Levitz's place. His name is Albert. I never used him. Out of spite. Never used him. But it really is kind of sad because you can go back to Levitz's mom's house after
How
he
is
is
she?
dead. You basically don't tell her.
Oh, really?
She's like,
la, la, la.
yeah. You just
Cooking.
don't really. You're like, you can even sometimes.
You guys
see-
hear from Levitz? Is he coming home?
Yeah, where's the Vince?
Yeah,
He said
pretty
he'll
much.
be late to dinner tonight.
This is
I
great
know.
food, my lady.
Basically, you're sobbing over the
tears.
controller. Exactly.
Oh, that poor woman.
My chicken
So actually, this,
He would love this.
can't enjoy it because Levitz is dead.
What's that, dearie?
so it is like it's really tragic because like you absolutely get the sense that this was a national hero. Like you had an actual hero on your squad, and you're a bunch of losers.
Yeah.
So like you had the celebrity in your crew who
Yeah.
had like a family and success,
Yeah.
and he's the one that gets axed at the very beginning.
Well,
so kind of
good.
the whole
That's
rest
cool,
of the
though.
game is just sort of honoring his demise.
Yeah.
These fender hairs, they're
Fender
all over
hairs
the place.
everywhere.
My hair.
And so, yeah, that's how you kick off disc one.
Okay.
So that's pretty much where disc one kind of ends. I think there's a little bit more after that, but that's basically the gist of it. So your best man
Levitz.
is dead.
Death one.
You always
Levitz.
carry him in your heart. He lives on within all of us.
That's why you say that, because
Exactly.
surely he is dead.
he's very dead.
He's very
so
more dead
unfortunately,
than
yes,
dead.
spoiler alert, he doesn't come back. You do eventually get to encounter his spirit. But that just reinforces that
Oh, see,
he's.
I thought that
no,
you had
he's
told us before
super
he
dead.
does come back.
No.
Oh.
There, like we
And
had.
that's why you had that name. Okay,
We
I
had a
get it
lot of
now.
theories that
lives.
he would be able to via this thing you collect called Stardust, and I thought, oh, this must be how we're going to bring Levitz back. Wrong. You're stuck with Albert the whole
Still
game.
dead.
Albert, oh, hey guys.
Ah, that's exactly
You
what
poor
he's
excuse
like.
for a replacement.
Oh, he's horrible. He's such a loser. Anyway, so yeah, Levitz.
Levitz, number one.
Levitz.
Number one.
Number one, Team Chat.
Kicking us off.
Memorable death. All right. Well, I guess we'll just go around the table in the normal
Yes.
normal fashion.
What do
So,
you got?
so mine is not necessarily a little different in the fact that it's not a catalyst death. Like it's not one that kicks off the adventure. It's it shapes and molds a character, but it wasn't even necessarily for the effect of this death in game as much as it was the effect on me as the player. So up until this point, when this game came around, which similar to your game, I bet you can guess what it is.
Oh, is it The Last of Us?
It's The Last of Us. So
It's funny.
okay, so
I can't wait to tweak it to me.
so
Is it Halo?
It is. Wow, this team chat really have spinning their wheels.
we know how to diversify our topics on this one.
Yeah.
AKA the throwback episode.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, so it's obvious that we would pick deaths from those
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, it's obvious.
They're our favorite games. Why would we not? But anyway, so this game, by the time I played The Last of Us, I'd been around. I'd played some games in my time, experienced some deaths on screen, but the reason, so the death that I'm talking about in particular is the one that happened is Joel's daughter Sarah.
Oh yeah.
So at the very beginning of this game, you play as her first, actually, because
You also looking it up?
you get the intro video and cinematic or and stuff where she's like where she's waiting up for Joel one night and he comes home really late from work and she gives him like a watch as like a birthday present kind of thing or just to give it to him, and they fall asleep and then she wakes up and Joel's gone, and as she gets up and looks and starts looking for him again and starts hearing a lot of noises outside and all this crazy stuff, and then he rushes home coming home because it's the outbreak of the infection. Like people started getting sick and turning into the infected. And so it just creates this mass hysteria and exit. And so they're trying to leave their house and everything. And Joel's brother Tommy comes, and they all get in the truck, and they're trying to like escape, but they're getting cut off by military trying to control the situation, or just the infected themselves. And all of a sudden, like, what the fuck is this? What's happening? In all this mass hysteria. And so they are able to go, and they get away for a little while, but then their vehicle crashes, and they try to get up and leave and go another way, trying to get to safety. And they stumble across this group of soldiers, and they're walking towards them. The soldiers like, stop, we don't know if you're safe and all this. And Joel's like, no, like my daughter's hurt, she needs help, and all this, and trying to get them to help him, but they're like, stay back, stay back, stay back, and then they wind up in all the confusion shooting at them. And
Ew.
Joel's daughter gets shot, and then
in his arms.
And so like there's this very emotional scene of her slowly dying, and her mother and Joel's wife aren't in the picture anymore. I don't remember if it's clear if she's just dead or they're divorced, But anyway, so it's like she's literally all he has, and so she slowly, is just dying in his arms, and it's this very incredibly emotional scene.
I bet.
Now, so what I mean is like that wasn't necessarily like the offset for the adventure, but it did is what turned Joel into this hard man that he is when he meets Ellie, where he doesn't care about Ellie. He's just like, you're a job. I'm just here to get you from point A to point B, and that's all it is. And then, which then leads to his softening to Ellie and all that as their adventure goes on.
It's a great story.
But but what I mean is by how this death affected not necessarily the game, but me as the player. Like I said, I played a lot of games, but really most of the games that I played, the only emotion I had experienced is either adrenaline, excitement, and or high adventure, as they say.
yes, the emotion of high adventure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like from the action and all that. So, I mean, I knew video games could have emotional stories, and there could be good characters in these games. But this is the first one that actually was more a death of a character in how this scene is acted and how Troy Baker delivered the lines and all this stuff. This was the first death that was actually in a video game that I experienced that was actually like an emotional gut punch.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God. This game is going to be different than anything I've ever played.
Yeah.
And so that, that and for the emotion, how they use emotion and all that, and the emotion and the connection to the characters is, again, another reason that makes The Last of Us one of my
very cinematic.
My favorite game.
It looks like a movie. It's not
cinematic.
Supposed to be like a video game almost. It almost looks like you're watching it.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. And so that, for me, it just stood out because it's a terrible, terrible scene, but it just stood out to me because it was that moment for me where I was like, oh, it was honestly like the moment of like, oh, video games can be something more than just jumping around and, and shooting enemies.
That was okay.
So that's kind of why it stood out to me, and it really just had that impact. And that, like I said, is when I knew like, oh, this game is going to be something different than I've ever experienced before. And then obviously like that was proven true.
Yeah. Righto.
So Sarah,
hard
from The Last of Us.
Number two.
Team
Chat Death.
Team Chat Death. Did you guys ever watch those shows on like Animal Planet that were like the top 10 something animal?
Yeah,
those were great.
Yeah, always had that like super cheesy computer 3D graphic of like going down this like light tunnels like number 9.
Yeah. We need that.
Awesome.
We need that. Number 2.
We're just this really sad like, and that's why this death is really terrible. Number 3.
Team Chat Death.
Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious.
All right, so what you got, Zach?
I have 6 deaths.
Oh my gosh.
6 deaths in one game.
Oh, holy crap.
One massive explosion?
One massive explosion.
Oh, I think I know which one you're going to do.
Say it for me.
Halo Reach.
Woo! Drop that bomb. Boom. I don't know if we talked about Halo Reach.
Not very much, no.
I really don't think we have, like in depth, And so Halo Reach is a game that came out, I believe, after Halo 3 and before Halo 4.
Okay.
But, kind of a while before Halo 4. Halo Reach was sort of, I think Bungie's, I think this is right. Bungie's sort of last adventure into the Halo world.
It was their last hands-on with
I think
Halo.
so.
And then they gave it to 343.
Yeah, and then they passed off to 343. I think that's right. And Halo Reach is in the canon of Halo, it takes place before Mogan just played Halo 1, like the first 4 levels. So right at the very beginning, you were on the Pillar of Autumn, alone in space, flying towards the ring. And you don't know like where it is.
Right.
And if you remember the conversation, you can hear Captain Keyes and Cortana talking about, you know, how are the Covenant still behind us? And she's like, the Covenant ships have always been faster. They just basically did a slip space rupture in order to get away from Reach.
Warp drive, if you will.
Warp drive. Yes. Let's call it that. And so Reach is where you're coming from at the beginning of Halo 1.
Okay.
So, and like I've always said, Halo 1 really puts you right in the middle of a fight that's already been going on. And Reach is a planet that is colonized by humans and also has Forerunner artifacts there and is a target for the Covenant to come and attack. And it's just another place where the Covenant and the humans clash.
Right.
And Reach... if you're familiar with the canon, which I wasn't when I played it for the first time, but Reach is destroyed. So you know that going into it.
Gotcha.
And so like the whole tagline for Reach was like Reach will fall in 2012 or whenever the game came out. You know, you will lose. Which is I think
actually that's semi-recent.
I don't think
not
it's 2012.
super recent.
Maybe it was later than that or earlier than that.
Something like that. I can't remember when it came out either. I'll look it up.
I mean, it's not that
Dude, 2012 still feels like yesterday.
It's not.
It really
Anyways,
kinda does.
continue.
Anyways, so you know that you're going to fail in the beginning, which is kind of cool to go into a game knowing that you lose. And I
Yeah.
like that idea. It's and yet the game is still really good. So you're basically, just to kind of go through it very quickly, you are part of Noble Team. You come on as Noble Team 6. You're the last guy that gets onto the Spartan team.
2010.
And they're 2010, okay. And they're tasked with defending Reach. And there's other Spartan companies that are on Reach, but like you don't really interact with them that much. All you are really focused on are these 6 Spartan members. I don't remember them all. I just remember there's Carter, Kat, Emil, George, you. There's somebody else I can't remember.
I've got the article pulled up.
Those are the main 5, and all of them die. You all die.
Even the main character.
Even the main character, which was the first time in a video game where, like, obviously you die as a character, but this was like you actually die.
Your character's
You're not
dead.
coming back,
Dead,
bro.
dumb.
Yeah,
You're
dead,
done.
And what is great about all their deaths is because you know Reach is going to fail, and you don't know this in the moment, you just kind of know it overall, but in the moment you are very much trying to stop the invasion. And the Covenant are coming, they're glassing cities, they're killing civilians, they're taking out comm systems, they're doing, just wreaking havoc on Reach, and you really don't have the means to stop them. And the whole time which I love about Halo, and I've talked about this before, it's this desperation. You're really backs against the walls, all hope is kind of gone, but you continue to fight on anyways. And what happens with each of these characters' deaths, which is really, I guess Kat counts too. Kat gets like sniped.
Kat was the shock death of the game.
She was the shock death. All the other deaths have like meaning and they're like very sacrificial in their in the moment, which is great. And I guess Kat kind of has that too because she's like working on something. She's like the intercom techie girl, but she's also like this badass Spartan. They're all they're all badass Spartans. But one of the most memorable ones is the first one for me is George. So you and George are tasked with going up into a Covenant ship, planting a bomb, and just blowing it up. But when you get up there, the ship that would be able to take you off the big ship, like a little smaller ship, doesn't work. The bomb has to be activated manually, and meaning someone has to stay up there and activate it, and they're not going to get off. And so you as like this rookie, you're not a rookie, but it's not like ODS TV.
You're like brand new to the Noble team.
You're brand new to the Noble team. And so this great moment happens where George is like looking at it, he's like, I got good news and bad news. The good news is, or no, he's like, I forget the quote, but it's like, I got good news and bad news. Basically, we have to activate this manually, and the only way to get back down is through gravity. We just have to jump out. One of us is going to jump out. You're like, okay, what's the good news? He's like, that is the good news. The bad news is, and he takes off his helmet, and like every time a Spartan like takes off their helmet, it's just like this thing. So he takes off his helmet, and he's like, I'm staying here. Reach is like my home. And I guess he was born there. And he's like, Reach is my home. You go finish this for me. Like total badass. No, not very sentimental at all.
Oh, yeah.
And what's really cool is he lifts up because he's like this big Australian.
Huge.
He's like the biggest one, and he's like this big Australian. He lifts up team member 6, and he sort of just walks you out, just in case. I don't know, like you're like, no,
You're
don't
try
do
to
anything.
fight him or
You're gonna try
whatever?
to fight him,
Yeah.
and he's like, give him hell, go do what you were meant to do, and he pushes you out into space, and you fall down to Reach like through gravity or whatever, and it blows up. And what is interesting about that is it delays the covenant a little bit. He thinks that it saves the city. And so there's a quote afterwards where Carter, the main team leader, is like, I hope we all die thinking that we think we saved the city. So good for him for dying thinking he saved, but like all it did was delay. That's all it did.
Oh man.
And Carter, towards the end of the game, the leader, he has a similar moment where he's flying this broken Pelican, and you and Emil are trying to get a piece of Cortana over to the Pillar of Autumn. So that's what's kind of happening. The Pillar of Autumn's on Reach. Master Chief's on the Pillar of Autumn. You have a piece of Cortana that needs to get to Master Chief and to Captain Keyes, who you met at the beginning.
Yes.
And so you're like, get there before, like, they're the only. That's why Master Chief is the only one that survives, because he's the one that barely gets off, but everyone else has to sacrifice themselves to get there. Carter basically runs his Pelican that's on fire into a scarab that would have killed you and Emil at the end. And so he's like, give him hell, bam. You know? So it's sacrifice. And then Emil at the end is shooting this big gun to get all these other ships, and a elite comes up and stabs him, and then he takes the elite down. He's like, give him hell. You know? It's all this, like, there's not a lot of sentimentality in it.
It's very much, it's almost,
they're all soldiers.
How they all go. It's very Saving Private Ryan-esque. How like a lot of the soldiers in that movie die. Yeah. It's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing.
It's
June is the one.
Okay.
The other one.
I don't remember June.
I don't remember how he dies either.
Yeah.
But it's Carter, Kat,
George,
Emil, and June.
Okay.
I remember Emil too, because Emil's death, I mean, George's one is obviously very memorable. Yeah. But I remembered Emil's too, because he's the last one before you.
He is. He's the very last one before you.
And so he's manning that gun.
Yes.
And Covenant Strike
like
come up to him, and he's like got his knife, because he's the one who has that knife and everything. He's like hacking away and just going crazy. He's being a bad, and then then Elite runs up and stabs him.
So then you eventually do get Cortana to Captain Keyes, and it's like, thank you, soldier, like, get on. And he's like, no, I'm staying. Like, I got this gun back here. I'll make you all a window so you can get out of here. So it's all for just everyone sacrificed themselves for Chief, Cortana, Keyes, and the Pillar of Autumn to get out of Reach, which is great. It's like a really unbelievably sad, cool story. And what's the most memorable one is at the end is it's not a cutscene, but it's you in a first-person perspective, and you're fighting different Covenant, and you realize they will never stop coming.
You can't pick up another ammo pack.
You can't pick up another ammo. Your health goes down and down and down, and you can survive as long as you really can last, and then eventually you get killed. Yep. And your helmet stays there, and Cortana has a nice message where she's like, you did all this. You didn't stop them, but you delayed them. Like, they were furious. They were, they're really brutal in their attack, but they weren't fast enough. And so all the delaying eventually did amount to Chief getting away, and you sort of saving Cortana and all the precious information she has.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, Noble 6.
Reach is great. Like,
Reach is a really,
now
really
talking
good
about
game.
Man, I want to play it again now. Like, I want to start it up and play it again.
I was looking through cutscenes. The dialogue's really good. Like, compared to Halo 5, which I don't think the dialogue's that great, like, this had really good dialogue, character development, and it's just really sad.
Well, and I was just looking it up now to see, like, when it was released and all that. It got incredible reviews, like 4.7 out of 5 from a Microsoft review. IGN gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
It's a good game.
Great
Super
stuff.
Solid game.
Awesome.
Yeah, the sacrifice of that game. It's basically Halo Reach is the Rogue One of the Halo series.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. You kind of have an idea of how it's going to end in your head. Yeah. But and you, because especially if you're familiar with the Halo lore, you know that. Like what you're saying, like Reach is destroyed. So I know. Yeah. But it's always still fun to know how you reach
how it happened.
Yeah,
how it happened, and what were the ramifications.
And that's
of
what
the
gives
battle.
it gravity. I love that.
Yes. Halo did a good job with that.
It was really good. Yes. I do love Reach.
Yes. Number 3.
Number 3. Yeah, we
Noble
need the graphic. All 6 names.
So do you want to do Mogan with Mogan?
Yes. Do we? Ow, I cracked my wrist. Ooh. Just me.
I can't record anymore.
A weak gesture. All right, anyways, lots of news and stuff going on.
Whoop, whoop.
Okay, so following the newest Nintendo Direct, I am certain neither of you know anything about it, they were featuring a couple of new reveals. So part of them are related to the Switch, and some are related to the 3DS. So they were also very much centered around the Pokemon series. So for starters, they did announce an official port and polished up version of Pokken Tournament. So that's coming to the Switch. So Pokken Tournament is basically Tekken for Pokemon.
Okay, I've seen that. I've seen gameplay.
It
of
looks
that
pretty
before.
cool. So actually, I'm pretty jazzed about it. So this will be like the first 1v1 fighter, not including ARMS, that I think is going to be coming to the Switch. That's like a new title, sort of. It's a port.
Yeah.
But that's going to be coming out September 22nd, so still a ways off. But it's going to be a port of the original Wii U version, but it's going to include 5 new fighters, and I think a couple of other new features as well. They also announced that they are doing new ported/upgraded versions of Pokemon Sun and Moon. So they are doing Sun and Moon Ultra. So Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Those are going to remain for now on the 3DS. People are hopeful that they might eventually get Switch versions, but I personally don't think that's going to happen. Those are slated to come out November 17th, so really kind of 1 year after Sun and Moon. There's going to be new Pokemon to catch and a new storyline, but it's going to take place in the same region, of course, of Alola. And then coming up is kind of some E3 related news. There are going to be official live tournaments for both of the Switch's new games, Splatoon 2 and ARMS.
Nice.
So I'm really excited to watch the Splatoon 2 tournament. So that's going to be airing on June 13th at 2 p.m. Pacific time is when it's starting. I think there's only 4 teams that have already done all of their qualifiers and stuff. One is from the US, one's from Japan. One I want to say is from Britain? I may have been making that up. And I forget where the other one is from. And they are going to be for both pros and amateurs confirmed for E3. And then the ARMS tournament is going to be aired on June 14th at 3:30 Pacific time. They're going to have a lot of really cool pro gamers in the ARMS tournament. There's going to be one of the most decorated female fighting game champions of all time competing in this tournament, along with a Smash Brothers champion from Canada. She's also going to be there. Wow. So really excited for that.
So a lot of this stuff is happening the day this episode goes out.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
so
that's
set some time aside of your day.
Yeah. So anyways, there's also going to be, I don't know how much you, not at all, but you perhaps keep up with PS4 sale news. Ooh. So did you see that cool... There's like a weird mini summer sale happening with Sony.
Days of Play?
Yeah, Days of Play. So they just debuted this limited edition gold PlayStation 4.
Which quite honestly looks disgusting.
I love it, dude. I love it. I would have if I didn't already have.
That's what he would get.
Oh man,
Trump Towers.
Because it would match all of my other gold Legend of Zelda stuff. So anyways,
okay, I see that. But I'm like, oh god, that is ugly.
But it is a 1 terabyte PS4. Ooh. So it's 1 terabyte and it's still only $250.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
So yeah, so it's a pretty good deal. Now, a lot of people are pissed because Europe is getting what a lot of people think is a prettier silver version.
Ooh,
but North America is getting the gold version.
I'd be much more on board with the silver version.
But yeah, so it's 1 terabyte PlayStation 4 for only $250, $249.99, and that's going to be on sale from June 9th through the 17th.
But I guess it's not bundled though with anything.
No, it's really not.
So yeah, so you're just getting the gold.
It would just be the unit. But I think really the memory, the storage there,
that is a big upgrade.
What's the big upgrade. They're also going to be selling standard controllers for the PS4 for only $40 and the official Sony headset for $80.
I do love my Sony headset. Yeah. I have not the highest end one, but like the middle one, I think, and it's awesome.
Turtle Beach, baby.
I might have to snag another one of those controllers. My first controller bit the dust, and so I had to buy a new one.
Yeah, I think all of the colors, like the basic colors, red, blue, black, all of those are all going to be the ones that are on sale. And then coming up for releases, ARMS is, of course, coming out for the Switch on June 16th.
Which I have to say, the more I see of that, the more it does
look fun. Pretty cool.
When they first announced it at the big Switch reveal, I was like,
yeah, me too. I was like, meh.
I was meh.
Yeah.
Like,
meh.
Just didn't really care. But now it looks pretty fun.
And they do keep revealing new characters for the game too. So they're obviously trying really hard to make ARMS a thing. And then we also have Dead by Daylight for PS4 and Xbox One on June 20th. We have Nex Machina for PS4 and PC June 20th as well. And Final Fantasy Stormblood for PS4 and PC June 20th.
Nice.
And that's about wraps us up.
Sweet. So, I mean, we'll hopefully be getting... Next episode, we'll have a lot of
E3 related.
E3 related. It's all going to be news and stuff. And so hopefully we'll get a lot of good release dates for some of our upcoming games. So we'll be saving all of our check back next week for a ton of E3 stuff. Plus, I know I'll be trying to watch as many of the conferences as I can. So check our team chat Twitter, because I'll be updating that through some of the keynotes and stuff as well.
So we're going to start with me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is going to be
Number
embarrassing.
4.
This is embarrassing because it's also from Halo. Oh! So I'll zippity-doo-dah through this one. So I was going to do Sergeant Johnson. Spoiler, he dies. But I'm not going to do him.
But not until
I wasn't done.
They say fair. Not until Halo 3.
Not until Halo 3.
I wasn't going to make it that far
Johnson.
anyway.
343 guilty. You get a lot of Johnson.
You get a lot of Sergeant Johnson. Let me reframe that.
You do.
Phrase that.
Halo 1, 2, and 3 is chock full of Johnson. But he doesn't. But you haven't met 343 Guilty Spark.
No,
Okay.
I haven't gotten that
He
far
kills
yet.
him.
Oh my god!
Which was a very surprising death.
Why would you tell
It
me
was.
these things?
I think Sergeant Johnson was trying to stop him from doing something, and 343 Guilty Spark will go into his auto mode and be like, "You stop," and like he doesn't know his own power.
No.
Yeah, no, then kills him, and then you kill the 343 Guilty Spark. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's a bummer though. Sergeant Johnson's the shit. Anyways,
Oh, yeah.
so briefly. There's another spoiler, but everyone's played this game by now, so I don't care. Except for Mogan. Come on. And this actually goes right off into what I was talking about, the end of Reach, when you give Cortana the keys and Master Chief is in there and all that stuff happens. Halo 1, the events unfold, as you have played a little bit of. Basically, the part you have not gotten to yet, which maybe you're like 2 or 3 levels away, is the introduction of the Flood, which is one of the best, as I've said before, one of the best moments in Halo. It plays out like a horror film, and this 2-tier sort of battle turns into a triangle. And now the Flood, Covenant, and humans are all mixed in this weird battle together. The Flood basically versus everybody. And so there are moments...
Flood don't give a shit.
They don't give a shit. There are moments, even in Halo 2, where the Covenant and the humans have to join forces to defeat the Flood. So it's really interesting, and that was a moment which made Halo sort of stand out for me. It wasn't just this very straightforward battle. It was a very complex thing. And the Flood are these... as you can imagine, these sort of like mindless hive of the universe that just go out and suck up life everywhere. Their sole purpose is to devour life. And as you learn, the Forerunners, and this doesn't have much to do with the death, but just real quick, the Forerunners knew this, and the Forerunners are these ancient alien civilization before you guys. Even though I think and I'm sorry that I don't know this. I think they were humans or something. I don't know.
It's kind of explained in Halo 4.
It kind of is
with because how the Promethean guards that you fight or
are
soldiers
like
are like humans of old.
Yeah,
or they were transformed into it. Yeah, I'm hazy on the lore myself.
I like the 1 through 3 trilogy where the Forerunner just appeared to be an ancient alien civilization, which were super advanced, and the rings, which you will find out, are not like planets or homes, but weapons. And they're used, all 7 of them, when they're ignited at the same time, destroy all of the Flood's food in the universe, which is everything. Like just sentient life.
Yeah.
So it destroys life in the universe. But it's a good thing to get the Flood out. That's like their thinking.
Yeah.
Anywho, there is a point towards the end of Halo where you are on a Covenant ship, and it's a level thing that repeats itself. So you already did the Truth and Reconciliation when you go up into that ship.
Yes.
I believe you go back into that ship.
Ooh, the same ship?
And it's overrun with Flood. And there's Flood everywhere, and you are fighting Covenant and Flood, and you get to this one room where it's a cutscene. You kind of come up on this platform, and there's this kind of weird Flood egg incubator sort of thing. And you're like, oh, geez, what is it? And there's a face imprinted at and it's screaming. It's like a screaming face. Its mouth is open. And you're with Cortana, like you both know what's going on. It's Captain Keyes. And Captain Keyes, yes, has been sucked into the Flood. Spoiler,
God.
yes. And
Keyes too.
And so some of these soldiers that become Flood are still sort of these zombie-esque soldiers, and they're still kind of like half there. They're dead, but they're like sort of mobile, and you could almost get the impression like, oh, is that a good guy or a bad guy? But it's a Flood. They have like Flood arms and stuff.
Flood arms?
They do. It's like a human arm and then a Flood arm, which is like
They look all like
yeah, they're like, yeah,
gross.
it's gross. But something that you do as Chief and Cortana is like, you have to do it, is you punch Keys' face, and it like explodes. Oh no!
That's horrible.
So Keys is dead. He's already dead, but he's sort of like being turned into a flood baby or something. And you're like, I'm not gonna let my sergeant go down like that. And you punch him in the face, and you kind of like do this thing, and it's like full of guts.
Gross.
Yeah, it's gnarly. But that's so you don't see the death, but you kind of. Or kill him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for better or worse.
Yeah.
You kill him.
Oh.
And so, yeah, that was another one I want to
It's like
talk
shooting
about.
a zombie in the head.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
You know,
it's like
fine.
your best friend just turned into a zombie, but you're like, bro, can't let you.
Exactly.
You
You're
know,
doing him a favor.
Doing him a favor.
mercy
exactly.
killing.
Exactly.
There we
Mercy
go.
kill.
Exactly.
Yes, and
Oh
then you
man,
continue on. And
Johnson and Keys.
Keys
There's
is
a lot of heartbreak
Keys is
in store for
definitely-
you.
That's definitely a minor character. Keys is like a cool character that has a lot of lines at the beginning. It's like you like Keys, but Sergeant Johnson is definitely a bigger character. And
Yeah.
when he dies, that's more of a event for sure.
Right.
But I kind of like the fact that you kill Keys, like you punch him. That makes it more interesting to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Because Johnson dies in Battle of Keys.
Yeah.
You're right. It's that different thing because it's the
weird.
mercy. It's the mercy.
It's the
killing
mercy
side of
kill,
it.
yeah, which is interesting. So yeah,
Poor Keys.
Captain Keys,
Captain Keys.
death number 4.
Well, now I don't even have to play the games.
No,
Zach,
that's
God.
everything. But you haven't met the Arbiter. Wait till you meet the
No,
Arbiter.
I haven't. Wait, is
You
he
know-
in Halo 1?
2.
I gotta play the 2?
Yeah,
Talking about all this Halo stuff, you know what we should do
play Halo.
is when, well, yes,
always
but
down.
like when the Extra Life for this year rolls around and it's a big like 24-hour stream, we should
Yeah.
just do the whole Halo series.
That'd be awesome.
If one of you
I'm
lets
down
me
for
borrow an
that.
Xbox.
Halo 1,
No, we'll
2,
just all
and
like
3.
come over like,
yeah.
and like just do it
Yeah.
all together
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and we can take shifts.
Yeah.
All right, you guys
awesome.
can't make fun of me when I play because I'm bad.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just let the
Keep
online
your
audience heckle
comments
you.
to yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that'd be cool if people watched us.
Oh, yeah, we'll stream it. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but I get we can stream it. It'd be cool if people watched.
Oh, we can figure that out for
Watch
that day.
the stream.
We can figure that out where people can see us too. We'll figure that out. Don't
Well, I
worry.
mean, I'm saying like, are people going to watch us?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We'll put it out.
Okay.
We'll get there.
We'll get
there.
fans.
We'll get there.
Fans.
Come watch us, please. It's not till like
Please.
November, so you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
That's it.
Another great
Another great death.
Another great Halo death, a heroic sacrifice in the face of the oncoming swarm. That's right.
Cut to graphic. Keys' head exploding.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
number 4.
And like and when you pulls his fist back, number 5.
Yeah. Number 5. Oh, you should totally take all day Sunday and make this.
That took me so long.
It would take you so long.
So worth it.
Okay, so my next death, I'm taking a play from your book in this one for your first one. It's not one person, it's a group of people.
Hey.
And it is the characters of Until Dawn.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about this game.
Okay.
So, obviously there are multiple ways that the characters can die, but the thing about Until Dawn, for those of you who haven't played it, it's a survival horror game. Great survival horror game, by the way. It kind of like slipped under the radar when it was released, but then after it came out, people were like, "Oh, this is actually a really good game." So you should play it if you haven't yet. It's
Also, it's
PS4
really
exclusive.
inexpensive.
Yeah, it's like $20 now.
It's
It's not.
15. It's like $15.
Yeah, it's great.
So if you have a PS4, you should have it.
Definitely. In fact, I'll let you borrow this.
Oh,
so
thank
you can
you.
play it around the Halloween
Around
times.
the Halloween. Ooh, that'll be so fun.
That's when I played it
Yay.
last year.
Yes,
I
good
bought
idea.
it so I could talk about it for our Halloween episode that we did.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
It's a
We'll do
fantastic game.
tradesies. I'll give you one, and I'll take Until Dawn.
That'll work.
Bam.
So the characters of Until Dawn, they can all. So obviously, since you do want to play this, I'm not going to go into huge detail about how characters die. But the point is, and it's understood going in, any character can die.
Just don't use any names, and I'll be fine.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to talk about. Yeah, I'm not even going to go on that deal. It's more about it's not much just about the death, but the effects of the death and how that affects the gameplay. Because it going in, every character can die. Every character could live. It all depends on your decision making and how you react in certain situations. So it obviously sets that up for that challenge, and you immediately know going in, okay, people are going to die. Like it's similar in Reach, you know they're going to die.
Yeah.
But it's the mystery of how,
Right.
and what's going to happen to them, and how can it be prevented? How could you save them? But the thing about how this game handles death, and I mentioned this before when we talked about it in the Halloween episode, there are no save points and reload points. You cannot go back and correct.
that.
I
a
like
mistake.
that too.
I love that. Yeah.
Because otherwise, what's the point of
point?
having decisions? You
Yeah,
have to
Exactly. Exactly. You're like, oh, I didn't want that character to die. Reload and do it
Yeah,
again.
can't
No,
do that.
you can't do that. You are stuck with your decisions, which that permanence of it really gives the game this overwhelming sense of pressure. You just always feel like anything that happens, you will overanalyze every single decision you're trying to make in this game. I did that. Like, there are points when you have to choose, do I want to go up path A? Do I want to go up path B? And you are just like...
Oh, God.
Okay.
Well, because you're looking at it like, this looks like the path of least resistance, but...
It's probably a trap.
Could be tricking you.
Something's bad over there.
Yeah.
This way looks really difficult, but it could be the easiest way. Like there are a couple points where like you either choose to like climb up a wall or go down a path kind of thing, you know, in the outside. And so it's like, well, what if I get all the way? And when you climb, it's all quick time event. So it's like you jump. And so if you miss, you don't. So then you start climbing. You're like, I got to be on this because if I miscalculate and hit the wrong button, does that mean my character's going to fall to their death? And they're just going to fall to a ledge below and still be okay? I don't know. Like, all these thoughts are racing through your head, and you just makes the experience, and not to mention it's already a horror game, so there's stuff running around, jumping out, trying to scare you, you know, or you don't know, like, because there's apparently this killer on the loose in this cabin, so you're like, where's he going to be? Because you see him and interact with him and with the other characters, but you're like, is this going to be when he shows up and just randomly kills this character? I don't know. And so it just really adds this level to this game where the ever constant fear of death provides such a strong gameplay mechanic that I had never before seen in a game. Because every other time you're just like, oh, this part's really hard. I died. I guess I'll try again. But this
it's totally different. I wish all games did that.
Different.
Every game,
like
every game.
Permadeath. Like, I mean, I granted in some games I could understand how that could be incredibly frustrating. Like if you had permadeath, but like for every single game. But for this one, the fact that each character has permadeath, it really makes you.
If Chief dies, he's dead forever. Zach.
Yeah, I like it.
It really makes you second guess and
count my ammo and stuff.
I know, right? It really makes you second guess everything you do, and it just has this element. And the whole time I played the game, I was basically on pins and needles, and it made for a wonderful experience.
That sounds like a great game.
I do still really want to play it. It sounds great.
It's so good.
Excellent.
And so, but yeah, so that's how just the way how that game handles death in and of itself is what makes it stood out to me. It just is an excellent example.
Cool.
Nice. Number six.
A bunch of teenagers.
Stranded in a mountain cabin in a world.
I love that guy.
Evil runs amok.
All right, so I'm going to close this out with one of the most personally, right next to Levitz, one of those personally hurtful deaths.
Gets you right in the
feels.
feels.
But also bittersweet deaths of any of my gaming experiences. So this is, of course, still from The Legend of Dragoon. So, of course, you start out, your main bro, Levitz, has been murdered. Through the rest of the entire game, one of the other very first characters that you get in your main team is the super mysterious badass Rose. You've heard me talk about Rose.
Yes.
So Rose is this very unusual woman, super pale skin, long black hair, black eyes, wears a lot of black and purple. Like, she's a badass, and you know she's a badass. You actually encounter her as the very first person you ever meet in the game, but you don't get her on your team at that time. She just kind of hops away, and you're like, what was that all about? But there's a dragon, so you have to run. So
as one would do.
So, but you meet her again later on when your girlfriend is injured, I think, or she's sick or something. And Rose is like, well, I know how to help. And you're like, hey, suspicious lady, what do you want from us? And it's revealed that Rose is one of the dragoons. So she's one of you.
Of Legends?
Of the legend.
Of
one
the
of the
very
dragoons
same.
of legend.
Oh my.
So actually, this is kind of a key plot point. She is. Rose is, in fact, one of the oldest living people on planet Earth. She's over 11,000 years old.
Jesus.
Because she's one of the old original dragoons. Way back during this thing called the Dragoon Campaign, she was one of the, I think, 7 people fighting on the Dragoons against this big enemy that you eventually exterminate pretty much. Because they were trying to exterminate you first, so it's like, turnabout's fair play. So anyways, you realize that her story is actually really sad. Everyone she knew and loved was killed in that campaign. She was the only survivor. And she was given this enchanted necklace that is what gives her a natural life. So she never dies. She can't die unless she takes the choker off. And her entire job for 11,000 years has been to find this reincarnated demon, which always comes back as a baby called the Moonchild. So she's been hunting for babies for 11 11,000 years just murdering them in their cribs.
Well, damn.
And she is, by that same token, gained the reputation of being this creature called the Black Monster because she's the Black Dragoon. She has the Black Dragoon stone. So she's like a super dark, kind of scary badass. And you're like, oh my God, Rose, you're a scary, scary lady. But she's always your friend. You always know that even though she doesn't show it, she has your best interest at heart. She has the world's best interest at heart. That's all she wants, is to save the world. She's like willing to take on the task of carrying the whole burden of humanity. So you have her the whole game. If you really buff her up, give her ultra speed and a lot of other good armor, she can be a monster on your team, just destroying enemies.
I would hope with 1,100 years of battle practice.
11,000. 11,000 years.
11,000, so
She
much
has a
more.
sword that slices through the world with a knowledge far greater than most. Her mystery and allure enchant all who meet her, yet she remains alone.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Wow.
So what you actually discover is that as part of the Old Dragoon campaign, Dart's father was one of the original Dragoons. But he kind of got reincarnated way long on, but in a corrupted state. That's how you got Dart. So at the very end of the game, you fought your way to the moon. The moon is actually not the moon at all. It's this scary kind of incubator thing for this super evil that you're trying to stop from becoming a thing.
Okay.
So basically, you kill him. And in the process of doing so, you kind of destroy the moon. So as it's exploding, you and all the other Dragoons, you're like flying out of there. There's sparks everywhere. It's an awesome cutscene. It's one of the few cutscenes in the game that is actually like high quality animated for that time. Nowadays, it wouldn't hold water, but it was awesome at the time. So all your other Dragoons are shooting out of there, blazing through the debris. It's a very action-packed scene. And then Dart kind of looks back, and Rose isn't with them. And that's because she has stayed behind in the explosion with Zeeg, Dart's father, because she lost him way back in the Dragoon campaign. He was the love of her life, and she was like devastated. And to find out that he's back and that they can finally die together is like her whole goal. She's like, this is the best case scenario. My time is over. I was supposed to be around 11,000 years ago. So her and Zeeg choose to die together in the ensuing explosion. There's no real reason for it. They've won. They just want to die.
They want to die.
They just don't want. It's not
11,000 years is a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's time, and like that's kind of the thing. So they are basically the closing out of the game is the death of the old guard. So they choose to die. They go out in a blaze of glory after defeating the evil that they've been working against all this time. And so it sucks because Rose is dead, but it's bittersweet because she chose to. She wanted to die. It was her time. So it's just like, it breaks my heart every time. I'm like, I love you, Rose. You're too good for this world, Rose. So you lose your best character, Levitz, and then you lose your best character, Rose. It's just like, well, the remaining people suck. They don't suck, but they're not nearly as cool. She is a badass. Eventually, she actually takes the Dragon Buster from the other big bad. So she's such a badass that she basically gets his sword. And she's the only one that can wield it. It's not equipable to any of your other characters because they're not badass enough.
It's like Thor's hammer.
Exactly. That's how badass she is. She's the only one that can take the Dragon Buster. So
that's pretty awesome.
Devastating. The death of Rose.
Heartbreaker.
She's with her love.
She is. She's with her love.
It's a happy
She
time.
finally gets to not kill babies anymore. It's pretty great.
That's good. That's good. So how psyched on a level of 1 to 10 would you be if you're watching E3 coverage this year and they're like, and coming up next year is Legend of Dragoon 2?
I don't want a 2, I want a remake. Yeah. So actually, there was a Legend of Dragoon 2 that came out only in Japan.
Oh.
And it followed
Well,
the
that's not
events
fair.
of Dart's son, and I don't think it was like a good game.
Everybody's like, oh, no.
Yeah, everyone was like, no. So, but I would love to have a
remaster would be good.
A remastered version would be amazing. Because really, the entire mechanical function of that game with the Dragoons and the things that you could do with them was really fun and interesting. And even the additions, the way that you could do more damage to enemies, it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
There it is. Team Chat seal of approval for Legend of Dragoon. If you didn't know about that,
If you didn't already know, now you do.
For new listeners, Mogan loves Legend of Dragoon. I love The Last of Us,
ever.
and Zach loves Halo. And that's why we talked about it a lot this episode. But it's been a while since we've talked about those games.
Yeah, it's been long enough.
I always have to remind myself because it feels like we just talked about something. Like, for example, like last week we did Breath of the Wild, and I was like, man, but we just talked. It was just like, it's good, but we just talked about it. Oh, no, that was 10 episodes ago. So 10 weeks ago when we did the first review of Legend of Zelda.
I will say, though, that I was a little tipsy the other night, a couple of weeks ago. And in my tipsiness, I bought 3 new games.
What'd you buy?
I bought the remake for PS4 of the combo games Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain.
We were just talking about Heavy Rain.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that they had remastered it for PS4, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah. And then I also bought Life is Strange.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So you know what? If you would have had your PS Plus, it's the free game this month.
Well, now I don't need it.
And I have it now. So now I have all 5 episodes.
Yes, so you need to get it, and then we can all do...
Can I play it?
Yeah, it's for Xbox.
Oh, okay.
So, and
you might actually be able to get the first episode free somewhere.
Oh, okay.
But you can play, I mean, all 5 episodes was even still less than $15.
Yeah.
So by this point,
That's
it's a very accessible game. So those will be the next 3 things that I'm going to attempt to play in any order.
Very nice. So like I said, I just finished Uncharted. So I'm now actually trying to finish up trying to wrap up the campaign of Battlefield 1. I haven't done that yet.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm trying to...
I saw you playing that the other day.
See, I'm trying to knock out some of my backlog a little bit. So yeah, so I'm going to finish up Battlefield 1, and then I'll probably stick around with Xbox games for a while. Maybe knock out Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ooh, good choice.
Sunset Boulevard.
Oh, man.
Overdrive, not Boulevard.
Sunset Overdrive.
I don't want to do any spoilers, but we technically could have talked about Ori and the Blind Forest in this episode.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
We could have.
Yeah, we could have. Tragic.
That was
Don't spoil it.
That was a gut punch, too.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, my feelings.
That was when I was sick when I was playing that game, and Sam was sitting in the living room with me, and that happened, and she was like, "What?" Like, as I say, who will like watch me will be doing her own thing while I'm playing games usually, and that happened. That death happened, and she was like, "What?"
Oh, no. It is super sad.
Super sad.
Ugh. Okay.
So you playing anything different?
No.
Still just
Halo
all the time, 24/7,
all the time,
365 days a year, 366 days a year on those leap years.
Got nothing.
All right, well, that was a lot of great discussion on some gaming deaths, and I know we each had more that we could have gone into, but we'll have to save that for another time. But until next time, this has been Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Fare thee well.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Adios.
We'll see you all next time. Stick around for the song. All right, well, I've got your song contest for this week. I know at the beginning of the episode we said that one of the hosts were going to choose it, but we decided to go ahead and reach out to Brandon early and get his hint and song for this week. So here it is. Brandon's hint is Eagles are a ninja's worst enemy. One more time. Eagles are a ninja's worst enemy. Think you know it? Well, give us your best guess by responding to the post that we'll put out at Wednesday, 9 a.m., the day after this episode goes live. First person to correctly guess the song will get to send us a song and hint for us to use for a future episode. So, listen to the song and guess away.